Good morning. Thank you all for coming to ESPC. As Kevin introduced, there's over 40 of us here from Microsoft, and we're thrilled to be here with you this week to share the latest roadmaps, of course, but to hear your questions and to hear your feedback. It's an exciting time for innovation, and we very much want to ground in the feedback you give us on the products. As Kevin was sharing, it's been 9 years since we were last in Stockholm. It was actually my first ESPC. I know the event predated that. And I was thinking this morning about what things were like in 2015. We were still trying to encourage everybody to go to the cloud and take advantage of the economics and innovation associated with that. We were on the verge of the next year introducing a huge refresh, the biggest refresh in SharePoint's history, and then going to beta with something at that time, I think we were calling it Team Spaces, that became Microsoft Teams. And so it was an exciting time. We were on the verge of hockey sticking in the cloud. And I really want to thank everybody for being with us on that journey. Hopefully you've seen that we've continued to innovate and improve the service. And boy, talk about an inflection point. It's not the cloud era. We're well along on that. It is the AI era. And so it is more important than ever to be part of this incredible community where we can learn from each other, we can grow our skills, we can grow our impact on our organizations, and I think build lots and lots of lifelong friendships. It's just so fun for me and the team to come here and see people we've known for many, many years. And so thank you so much for being part of the best community in tech. And I'll also put a plug for when you go back home, be part of your local community on communitydays.org. That site shares the events that are going on around the world. We'd encourage you to attend them, organize them, speak at them. The best way to learn is often through teaching, and so we'd love to see more and more people be part of these local community events, as well as the marquee events like ESPC. Well, today we're going to talk about three things. There's a lot of news from Microsoft, I know. I remember 2015, people might have said to us, gosh, maybe you're going a little slow. Could you speed up just a little bit? Nobody says that to us anymore, except for the features that we haven't gotten to yet. But so there's a lot, and we're going to frame it in three sections. We're going to talk about Copilot and AI first. Then we're going to discuss Teams, our hub for teamwork, and then the things focused around our content management platform, SharePoint, the S in ESPC. So let's talk about Copilot first. I like the way that Satya framed it at Ignite, so I borrowed the slide he used, which is Copilot is the UI for AI. It is your personal assistant. It knows you. It's grounded on your information. It knows your security context, and it integrates with your data and your applications. But over the last year, we've seen there will be more and more specialized skills for AI that will exist. And we've discussed the best way to name these skills or concepts or extensions. And we've settled on agents as the terminology in the industry. And so we'll build some agents, and we'll give you tools that you'll see this morning for building agents. And Copilot will help you navigate all of those right in a consistent experience. And one of my favorite products that Kendra will talk about in a little bit that we've introduced is Copilot Studio, which is the best way to build these agents. And then we're pulling together a management framework that we're calling the Copilot Control System that you can use to govern the content, the agents, the applications that use them, and more. So a holistic view of an AI platform that's there to help every user be more productive and transform business processes as well. And it seems like it's been 3 years, but it's only been a year. I promise, it's only been a year since we GA'd the first version of Microsoft 365 Copilot. And one of the things we're very focused on, given the investment it takes in AI, is what's the return on that investment. And so we've published literally hundreds of case studies of customers who are using Copilot today and realizing productivity benefits in both individual productivity, time savings, learning, growth, but more importantly, tangible ROI on business processes where they're seeing cost reductions or revenue growth or other key metrics about how they're driving real tangible business outcomes. And there's a lot more to come. This is just version 1. We're very focused on the feedback that you all give us to make sure the investment in AI is going to pay off even more in the future. Since we've talked about Copilot a lot, I won't go too much into the restating all the pieces of it, but I did want to frame a few things before we get going with the demos on it. One key concept for us is that Microsoft 365 Copilot comes with a web scope and a work scope. The web scope uses the very latest large language model connected with an index of the internet information. And that is available at no additional cost with security to customers who have an Entra ID. So you don't need to buy ChatGPT or some other solution. If you've got Microsoft 365 Entra ID, you already have access to a secure AI LLM-based solution in Microsoft 365 Copilot. With the Copilot license, you get access to the work scope. There it automatically connects to your data in a secure way and interfaces with the applications, Word, Excel, Outlook, PowerPoint, Teams, etc. And so it's very important to understand the web scope, and it's something everybody can get started with right away. And the work scope, which is really where the higher value comes, and we see, again, lots and lots of customers rolling that out. So that's sort of one key concept. And it's been a year. And since the initial release of Microsoft 365 Copilot, we've come out with over 300 new capabilities, a number of which we announced in September with what Satya called Wave 2 of the Microsoft 365 Copilot. It was a big set of announcements. I won't read everything on the slide, but two things I really wanted to highlight that we announced in September is pretty dramatic improvements in the performance and the relevance of the Copilot model. We updated to the very latest OpenAI model that we run in Azure in a secure way, GPT-4o. And we did a lot of performance tuning of the orchestration of how that model interfaces with the data to make it twice as fast. So I encourage everybody to take a look at it if you've not seen it in the last couple months. And along with this, we also tuned the relevance of the model and how it interfaces with the data, RAG, as it's called in the industry, to make the results that are returned from BizChat in particular significantly more relevant. So we're very excited about the feedback we've gotten in the last 4 or 6 weeks since we released that Wave 2 of Copilot. And we talked about all that at Ignite, and we're going to show some of that in a minute here. But probably the biggest piece of news of Ignite was, as I framed earlier, was our work on agents. These, again, are capabilities that can run on behalf of a team or a process or an individual that automate work. And we announced 5 of them at Ignite. The facilitator agent, which you'll see is no longer just recapping the meeting after the fact, but it's helping you be more effective as a team inside the meeting. One of my favorites, the project manager agent, that will help you not only organize the project, but track it and even get particular tasks that AI can help with done as part of that. We're very excited. Howard Crow is here this week from the planner team to talk about that session in detail. I strongly encourage that one. An employee self-service agent, this is for common questions people have, sort of IT help desk, Q&A, benefits, and so forth. We're going to make that much more out of box with an agent. Want to have, of course, again, the S in ESPC, SharePoint democratized building websites. It's democratizing building agents. You'll see that this morning with SharePoint agents. And then probably the biggest wow demo is real-time interpreting in your language in the voice of the speaker with the interpreter agent and Teams. So pretty exciting stuff that we'll show this morning. But we want to make sure we've been out for a year, Microsoft, one of the things we try to pride ourselves on when we release a brand new product is we listen very carefully to feedback and frame our investments in what we hear from customers and partners around the world. And since we released Copilot last year, we heard three things. One is you wanted to make sure that we made improvements so that we improved every user's productivity, and you'll see a set of capabilities for that, like Copilot Actions and Copilot Pages. Two is that ROI you saw, you wanted it to be faster, more business relevant, higher time, better time to value. And so you'll see a set of things around business processes with these agents that you can build with either SharePoint or more advanced agents with Copilot Studio. And last but not least is simplifying our story around IT controls and governance of the content, the applications, the copilots, the analytics of who's using what. Our story, we had a lot of pieces and you want us to simplify that, and so I'll talk about that. So I'm very excited, enough framing. We're going to show some stuff now. Let's talk about the personal productivity side of Copilot, and for that, let's bring back one of our best demoers from last year who's joined us again this year, Michelle Bowman. Michelle.
I don't need that. Thank you, Jeff.
Okay.
Jeff, you set the bar way too high when you said one of the best demoers. This brings expectations. Good to see you all. Good morning. Quick question for you in the audience. If you would look at your job description today, right? So you were hired into a role. You looked at the job description. You're like, well, this looks good. This is what I want to do. How many of you have sitting in meetings and doing email all day in your job description? Raise your hands. 2. The rest of you do speak English? Just checking. Yeah? You do? You got to explain to me then why our work trend index shows that we spend about 2.5 days, which is half of our week, in meetings and doing email. And I think that's something that we have to solve. Last year, when we were out in Amsterdam, I spoke about the meeting life cycle, where you have a before the meeting, where you prepare, a during the meeting, where you make decisions. Don't do meetings to inform each other. Have meetings to actually make decisions. And then after the meeting, you're going to take on the actions, right, and follow up on those meetings. Let's start with how we prepare. And that's what I want to show you today. Now, we've heard some of your concerns when it comes to implementing Copilot in your organization. 1, adoption. How are all of our users going to start using this technology at scale? The second one is around security. Have we secured our files good enough? Isn't it too much of an open house? Don't we have too many files where too many people have access to them? Or do we maybe need to set up a couple of sensitivity labels still before we can start deploying Copilot? And the third one is very much around productivity. And that's what I want to show you today. So let's walk over to my demo machine and get this thing started. And we're going to start in Copilot. And this is an experience that you've all seen before. Well, wait, there we go. This is an experience you've all seen before. What we're going to do now is I'm going to show you how I use Copilot every day. So we're getting ready to go to a meeting with a very important customer. It's Boulder Innovation. It's a branch of Contoso. I think those in the room are very familiar with Contoso. It's an EV company, and I'm just preparing for this meeting. And you've all done this if you use Copilot. We're going to just hit it with a simple prompt, give me a summary of Boulder Innovation updates, and provide recommendations for an upcoming call. Now, it's going to go across my emails, my chats, my files, and it's going to find the relevant information. Now, usually, if you wanted to share this with your team, you had to copy-paste. Those that are a little bit advanced, I see a couple of nerds in the room. It's good to see you. I'm one as well. You would just copy-paste, maybe put it in a loop component or on a loop page and start collaborating. Some of you might still put it just in a Teams chat or in an email maybe and start collaborating. But now, as part of these Wave 2 announcements that we did with Copilot, you can actually start editing this in Pages. So we're going to click the button on the bottom left. And now we're turning this into a multi-person collaboration canvas. So we have everything right here that I just prompted, and I think it's time to work on this together with the team. Let's start adding some people. So we can mention them. Let's start adding. Let's see who we have on this team. Let's add Ilya. I always like to work with Ilya, who's our VP. Let's add Amber. You'll see her later as well. And just like that, let's give them some rights so they can start working in this document at the same time as I am. Sharon notifies. So now both Ilya and Amber are getting an email saying, hey, you're now part of this canvas where you can start working together on the preparation for this call. Next thing I want to do is I want to start leveraging the thousands and thousands of connectors that we have with Copilot. So we're going to use CB Insights to get some insights on what's happening in the EV industry and in the EV market. So now it's connecting to the inside. You see how fast that went? And now, just like that, I have all the key trends, the growth drivers. There are a couple of cool tables, some competitive landscape, and I'm going to add this into the pages as well. So now, again, we have this multiplayer canvas where we can all work together. This is very rich. So if you hit / you can add all kinds of things. We'll add a call out. Ilya, he's not seeing this, so I can just say this. Ilya, please make sure you come to this prepared and bring snacks for fika. I'll explain that later. See, the folks from Sweden, they recognize that. Right, so you can start collaborating immediately. And now you're fully prepared to take on that meeting. Now, I also said that we're spending a lot of time in email. And that's also something that we have to fix. So this is my inbox. I have no idea where to start, to be honest with you. But there's a new function, a new feature, where we can sort priority by Copilot. So now we're going to sort this inbox by priority. And you see that here on the top, there's an email from Sonia. Apparently, you can recognize the importance of this with the little arrow. You see a small summary, deal at critical stage. Well, I want to read more. Here on the top, we see, again, a short summary. And then if I click into it, it's going to give me a full summary. Where this is going to come in really handy is, and you've all been here, where you get an email and it says, at Michelle Baumann, do you have the answer to this? And there are 7 emails underneath that. Right? This is going to help you to comb through that really quick. So now we have the summary. We can even say we want to ensure that every time Sonia emails something or that there's an email coming in about Boulder, that it actually shows up as an email that should be prioritized. So you can do that here. Now, difficult part is you need to start scheduling a meeting. And I said it's very important to come prepared to meetings. Right? So you open up a new meeting invite. You start typing some notes. Hopefully you start typing an agenda. Takes a lot of time. Copilot can help you with that. So we're going to come to more actions. And this UI will change over the next couple of weeks. And now what Copilot is going to do is actually going to compose an event title for me. It's going to add all the notes, everything that was in that email, and it's right there for me, and I have the agenda as well. So I can make changes if I want to. I won't do that now. Let me insert that, and now let's start booking a room. So we're going to come down to the Places Finder. And you see a new button here on the top right. It says Rebook Declined Rooms. So let's say you have a recurring meeting. And then next month, for some reason, the room that you booked gets canceled and declined because it's already full. Copilot will automatically find you a new room and make sure you have a room in the near vicinity of that meeting room that you originally booked. Now, this is just a quick demo. I'm going to come back later on stage to see how we do some things in Teams. But for now, let me bring Kendra Springer on stage to talk a little bit about how you can improve your business processes with Copilot Studio.
Thank you. Always want to make an entrance. That was a tough act to follow. Unfortunately, I don't have as many jokes for you, but I will do my best here. So thank you all. Good morning. Super excited to be here, right? So at the heart of every business process is your organization's critical knowledge, right? And with SharePoint agents, we're making it easier than ever to surface this data to everyone right at their fingertips, giving them the ability to access this valuable information to make the best decisions possible in order to complete their tasks effectively and efficiently. And we were super excited to go GA with SharePoint agents a couple of weeks ago at Ignite. And since we've released the preview a couple of months ago, we've seen thousands of companies adopt this capability, right? Building new agents every single week for a multitude of different scenarios. They truly are limitless. So from HR to customer service, to marketing, to operations. And I want to show you exactly how easy it is to go ahead and create an agent grounded on your data right here within SharePoint. So here I am, right here in my Contoso employee onboarding site. Contoso, you're all familiar. And I'm going to switch over. Thank you. Kevin. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Now you can see. Now we're in Contoso. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select all the documents that I have here. So within this document library, there's a valuable number of assets around employee policies, various required trainings, information about Contoso itself, everything that new employees need to adequately get onboarded, right? Maybe I don't want to select the equipment policy doc, so I'll go ahead and remove that. And then now all I have to do is simply create an agent. And I'm going to go ahead and further edit this agent, right? So I can change the icon, which was inherited natively from the site. I can also change some of these sources. Maybe I want to add a source back. Maybe I want to remove another one. Or I can go ahead and update the behavior, right? So changing things like the welcoming message or the starter prompts, which I'll go ahead and do now. Let me go ahead and change this to one that's a bit more relevant for this agent to support. And if I wanted to, in the future, we will be showing how you can further customize this agent right within Copilot Studio. But for now, let's click Save. And just like that, this agent has been created. Now I'm able to chat with this agent right here if I wanted to. Let me make sure we're in the right one. There we are. But actually, what's more important to do with this agent is I want to share this with my team, right? So they can get started chatting with it and more efficiently and effectively getting onboarded. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the link for Teams and go over to Teams, where I have a group chat with some recent new hires. And not only am I going to share this agent to this group chat, and it's a live demo here, right? So you get to see all the fun details. Let's try that one more time. All right, now the link's copied. Let's do that again. So I'm going to share this agent here, but I'm going to take it a step further, and I'm actually going to add this agent itself to the chat so everyone can get chatting with it, get access to all these valuable resources, and start getting onboarded as quickly as possible. And so once it provides me that welcome message, right, it updated the starter prompt showing the required trainings, and I'm going to go ahead and ask it a question that I know is located in one of my documents from SharePoint that I've grounded this agent in. So what are the benefit options available to me? And so what this agent is doing is it's indexing all of the documents that I've grounded this agent in to find the relevant one and summarize the information that's valuable in answering this particular question for this group of new hires, right? So it's going to parse the information, identify which information is most relevant, and then it is going to do what live demos sometimes do, and it is going to fail. What you would have seen, though, is a great summary showing all of the various options that Contoso has for their benefits so that my new employees can go ahead and make the right choice for them to get onboarded. Now, like I said, we're going to go ahead and take this agent a step further and further customize it by giving it additional capabilities through the Copilot Studio full experience. So right here, I have that same onboarding agent that I've created. It has all of the starter prompts, but you can see here that I'm able to do additional things like give it additional knowledge, or I could give it access to various automation to complete tasks through different actions. But for time purposes, I'm going to go ahead and just enable web browsing. Now, this is an extremely powerful tool because now this agent can not only answer questions based on the corpus of knowledge that was infused directly from that SharePoint site, but it can also answer questions about anything else that my users might have questions for. So I'm going to ask it a specific question that I know is not located in one of those documents, and we are going to cross our fingers to the demo gods that we are able to learn all together here how to configure a retention policy directly from a SharePoint list. And again, what it's doing is the agent is parsing through the various knowledge sources that this agent was built on, grounded on, and it's going to see, is there the information I need to answer this query here? If there's not, it's going to go out to the web to further identify the response for me. And just like that, we were able to understand exactly how to create this retention policy all together, right? It's a bonding experience, you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, but so as you can see, this is super powerful. I can go ahead and publish this right back to my agent within SharePoint, and all of these changes that I've made will be immediately active in that agent. But providing an agent that answers questions based on a corpus of knowledge, while super powerful, I might want to take this a step further, right? I might want to enable employees to not only get answers to their questions by initiating these questions via the chat, but I might also want to infuse my agent with autonomous capabilities, right? So that it can run long-running workflows automatically in the background for myself, for my team, or for my organization. So let me show you just how easy, again, it is to set something like this up. So sticking with the onboarding scenario, I've created another agent here where I have given it various descriptions and instructions that this agent will use to understand how to behave and handle certain scenarios, as well as what to do when particular events occur. And just like in the agent we created from SharePoint directly, this agent also has knowledge sources related to onboarding processes here within Contoso. Now, what you haven't seen is actions added to an agent. And I've gone ahead and configured a number of actions for this agent that are, again, relevant to onboarding, maybe procuring new hardware or troubleshooting, right? And creating an action is super simple. You're able to select from over 1,300 plus Power Platform connectors, or leverage your own custom connector that you've built to wrap your API in order to connect to your backend systems. Now, the last but not least thing that I've done with this agent is I've configured a new trigger, right? A new autonomous trigger that allows this agent to respond when a particular event occurs and not just when a user initiates it via the chat. And again, creating these triggers is incredibly simple, right? So we have featured triggers that are common across various organizations, or you can browse a number of various trigger types that are applicable to the applications that your organization is leveraging. And so here I've gone ahead and configured a trigger to execute when a new employee is added to our database. And so now once we have everything configured, all we need to do is go ahead and test this. So I'll open up the conversation map, and in order to simulate adding a new employee to my Dataverse record, I'm simply going to add the new employee information here. Now, once I've added this information, it kicks off this event-driven process, right? So this agent is waiting for a particular event to happen, a new row to be added to our Dataverse, and when this happens, it follows a number of various steps by chaining together the actions and the knowledge that I've given it and following the instructions or the guardrails that I've instructed it to do when this particular event occurs. So you'll see, It identified first the knowledge source related to IT procurement policies, so it understands how the policies and procedures for helping new employees get their new equipment. And it's followed the instructions that I've given it to provide a welcome message to James Smith, welcoming to the company, making sure he's ready to get onboarded. All of this happened without James Smith himself having to request any of it. And so in order to keep testing, I'll just continue replying as if I was James. So yes, I am super excited to get started. And you'll have to excuse me. Typing sometimes is the hardest part of these live demos, which is why I love hotkeys. And so as I respond, you'll see that the agent understands that it needs to identify the next tool or action and chain this together, right? So you'll see it accesses my ServiceNow connector to be able to display all of the available equipment that James can pick from. Now I can continue to keep testing here, but again, I know we are limited on time. So testing itself, while super valuable, is only one piece of the process in helping you feel confident and comfortable about the autonomous triggers that you're creating for your agent. The other piece is getting visibility into the autonomous capabilities that or runs historically that have happened for your agent. And so now you can see a list of all the historical autonomous activity within the new activity page. You're able to understand, were there any variances? Were there any unexpected outcomes? You're able to drill into these various runs and improve them, or even drill down into the automation itself to see if there were any errors, any places you need to fix. And so I hope you can see that not only by grounding these agents directly from data sources in SharePoint with a couple of clicks, enabling you to create these powerful and intelligent agents, as well as enabling you to be able to create autonomous agents that respond not only to chat-initiated triggers, but the events themselves. We are giving you powerful tools to create agents capable of handling a multitude of scenarios, right? And so this is truly changing the way that we do work. This is an opportunity for us to reimagine what we build, how we build it, how we manage it, how we govern it, and how we scale it. And that's a truly powerful and exciting opportunity. And now that I've shown you all of this amazing demos that worked most of the time, let's go ahead and hear from a customer that's been leveraging these capabilities directly.
Amy are a UK-based organisation. We operate in safety critical industry. We design, maintain, operate and build assets for the UK infrastructure. We must touch probably 75% of everybody's life in the UK every day.
Access to safety information is critical to us, especially in the front line. Making sure that our people go home safely every day is our top priority.
We are data rich as an organisation.
Accessing that information in a timely manner is difficult.
Historically, that would have been a case of somebody stopping the work that they were doing, finding the folder that sits under the seat in their truck, looking through that folder, finding the right section, looking through the section, finding the right line.
A lot of our frontline staff don't have access to a laptop, don't have access to a computer, but they do have access to a phone. So now they're able to have an agent sitting in their pocket accessing our safety information. They can access the information that they want, where they want it, how they want it, to be safer and more efficient where they're working. How amazing is it to be able to give our frontline workers the information they're looking for at the click of a button?
Having all of that information digitized and available to you in a device where you can ask a question completely takes that challenge away.
It's completely transformative for them to be able to have a chat with that data to find the answer that they need. And not only that, they're able to do it in any language, even though the underlying documentation still remains in English.
Technology can be in all the places that our supervisors often can't. That means that they can troubleshoot some of the issues right there and then, and they can allow them to work safer or more efficiently.
And ultimately, we can get people home safe and well every single day of the week.
100% agents in SharePoint is making my job safer.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Michelle and Kendra. So I'll hit the third area of feedback that you all have given us, which is IT controls. Just to reiterate, from day one of Copilot, never was your data visible to anyone, and it was never your data or your prompts ever used to train any model from Microsoft or any third party. So that's thing one. Thing two is from day one, Copilot always respected your access control, your sharing policies, your permissions, your conditional access, etc., in the context of the person asking the question. And as we added these group chat scenarios like Michelle and Kendra talked about, the person asking the question will get prompted before it goes back to the group if the information is appropriate to be shared with the group. So security's built in from day one. But what we've done is have some additional management and governance tools above and beyond that that we're including with the Copilot license. First, last year we introduced SharePoint Advanced Management that is deep analysis of all your permissions and sharing policies to see if help you figure out if have you gotten it right or not. That is now, as of Ignite, included in the Copilot license, as well as being available standalone. Second, we announced that Copilot capabilities are coming to the admin centers for Microsoft 365. So the same kind of productivity benefit users get, IT will get for admin tasks. Third is we took Viva Insights that has been around for several years to help you understand which products and services are used, particularly important for AI capabilities. That's being renamed Copilot Analytics and is included in the Copilot license as well. And last but not least, we've introduced some new capabilities to help you track and measure and analyze the business impact of the Copilot investments. So very excited to go in more detail in sessions this week and get your feedback for the next round of governance tools. But I think we've really invested a lot in this area over the last year. All right, that's Copilot. Next area is Teams. Hopefully I don't have to tell everybody what Teams is. It's a pretty unique product in that it's a hub for teamwork, bringing together asynchronous and synchronous collaboration tools, chats, channels, meetings, documents, apps from third parties, Microsoft, your custom apps, all in one place. But now in this AI world, I'm really excited about Teams taking on a new role of being a way where people and agents can collaborate together to get more done and help every member of the team learn and grow their skills. Just to hit the main themes for our investments for Teams of the last couple years. First, we've made it much faster. Teams is now twice as fast and half the size. The new Teams we released last year. It's now on virtually every desktop has been updated to the new Teams. We're continuing to address performance capabilities on Windows, on Mac, on web. We have a new VDI architecture we've rolled out with fantastic upgrade in performance and capabilities. So you'll continue to see us invest in fundamentals in Teams. Second is simplicity. We have a very diverse user base for Teams. Some people are like, I don't know what this group chat thing is, I've got to learn it. And others come to us from, say, other products and want it to work exactly like product X. And we love all the feedback, regardless of where users come from. And so we really focused in the last year on whether it's power user features for developers or simplicity features and search and notifications for everybody about making Teams simpler and more flexible. And we made a big announcement a couple weeks before Ignite about the new chats and channels experience, which has a lot of flexibility for both novice and power users to adapt Teams how they want it to work. And last but not least, making Teams smarter with Copilot capabilities as well as the new agent capabilities. So we've got a lot to share on Teams. I'm very excited to bring Michelle back, who's going to show you some of the new end user capabilities of Teams. Michelle, welcome back.
Thank you. I was so excited last year when the team here at ESPC announced that we're going to be in Stockholm because there's one tradition in Sweden that I really love. It's fika. it gets some people going, even when I say it. I'll explain it for those that are not from Sweden. Some who are not in the know would just call it a coffee break, but it's far more than that, right? It's actually something that's really inherited in Swedish culture. It's the moment, you can do it in the morning, but usually in the afternoon, 3, 4 p.m., where you all come together. You have a nice cup of coffee, tea usually for me, a nice cinnamon rolls, some pastries, and it's the time that you really slow down and enjoy each other's company and not think about work and all the other stuff that's going on. Do you know what can really ruin a good fika? You need to go now, sir. You know what really can ruin a good fika? It's a bad meeting. Right? Meetings are still the #1 productivity disruptor in any company. People showing up late. That's both bad for the people that are sitting there waiting for you, but it's also difficult for the people to catch up. The second one is no clear next action steps. Remember that meeting that you were on last Thursday? The one with 15 people, it took 75 minutes? You spent like 60 minutes of that just looking at your email and scrolling through your LinkedIn feed? That thing was completely useless. Not the LinkedIn feed, but the meeting. And I'll tell you this, you're going to be back there this Thursday, and they're going to ask you, did you follow up on the action points from last week? And you're going to be like, what? No, I was actually in Stockholm for ESPC. I'm sorry I didn't get to it. Right? And we need to change that. And then the third one is no idea what has really happened after the meeting, so no real notes that were taken. So if you ask me, this wave of AI is not just about technology. It's really reshaping all the aspects of work. It's about how we work, and it's about where we work. So Jeff spoke about this a little bit. We heard your feedback about it's difficult for us to sometimes find our channels, find our teams, the chats, the group chats, where is everything? So with this new experience, we've bundled, put together, merged the channel and chat experience. So it's going to make it a lot easier for you to find things. You can now easily click the unread button, find all the unread chats, go straight to your channels, look at all your ad mentions. And one thing that I really love about this new experience is that I can finally build my own little group of favorite people. I have the dream team group where I have all my people sitting there so I can find those people more easily. Jeff also showed briefly some of the agents that we introduced in Teams. One of them is the facilitator agent. And this for me has been a true game changer. What this does is it's keeping you honest on your agenda. So it'll nudge you at times, say, hey, it's time to go to the next topic. There are still these open questions that need to be answered, but it'll also, every 2 to 3 minutes, it'll take live notes. And the first time you'll see this, it'll blow your mind. At least it blew my mind. It was that impressive, and it was a game changer. But I can tell you, would you like me to show you? Yeah? Okay, let me show you. Thank you. Okay, so let's jump into a meeting. Let's see if my team is already there. They are. Good morning, team. I'm sorry I'm a little bit late. I'm actually here at the Keynote stage with Jeff Teper. Can you believe that? For everyone here in the audience, if you look to the right-hand side of this screen, you'll see the meeting notes. And those meeting notes were taken by the facilitator agent. And all that is happening in real time. You can work together with the agent as well. You can add your own notes. You can even ask it to add certain topics if you think that it missed something. So for me, this has really helped me. We also added new functionality to Copilot in Teams as well. So the cool thing is that it can now read what's on the slides and ground itself on what was said on the slides. So we can try a prompt here where we're going to ask Copilot to, just hit the hotkey, to reason over the content that was being shared. And then in a couple of seconds, we'll get that content straight from the PowerPoint into Copilot. Now this is cool, but I'm a Teams Rooms guy. And Amber, I think you're in a room, and I think you have a whiteboard behind you with one of those intelligent cameras. Can you share? Thank you, Amber. Before we get to Amber, you see this little one here on the annotation. If you hover over it, you can see where it actually grabbed that information from it and put it into Copilot. Now, Amber wrote something on a whiteboard. So she's in a Teams room. She has an analog whiteboard behind her with an intelligent camera that is pointing at the whiteboard so we can see what she has written. But how cool would it be if we could ask Copilot questions about the content here? Maybe we can ask Copilot to maybe create a table out of the stuff that's here on the whiteboard and then take a screenshot of it as well. So let's see. Let me try this. Yep, there we go, hotkey. Let's give it a second. And now it's going to reason over the content that was shared on the whiteboard any day now. And there we go. Does it give me the screenshot? Give me a screenshot as well. What do you think? Is that cool? That's cool, right? Thank you, team. Okay, so the next agent is the interpreter agent. Now I work on a very international team. I have people sitting up here in the Nordics, some people in Germany, I'm from the Netherlands, somebody in the UK, and I have someone in France. And whenever I join the French, like the business reviews, I'm the only non-French speaking guy that's out there. And I sometimes just feel embarrassed to say, you know what, can you please speak English just for me? And now what the interpreter does, it translates French in real time into English, so I can follow that meeting in English when everyone is speaking French. Now again, that sounds cool. Would you like me to show you? Yeah? Let's go back to the demo machine. Okay. So let's see if my good friend Rob Carlson is on. He is. This is Robert Carlson, used to be on my team, now works with a great partner. Rob, maybe you can wave at the audience. There we go. Rob is from Sweden. And Rob, I just explained to the audience what I think of fika. But let me start the interpreter here. I just explained what fika means to me. But you being from here, Rob, maybe you can explain what fika means to you. And then don't explain it in English. Please explain it in Swedish. And then we'll let the interpreter do its job. So whenever you're ready.
För mig är det att sitta ner tillsammans med vänner, kollegor. It's about sitting down with friends, colleagues, customers, and having a cup of coffee. Oh, and hopefully also a good noise. It's not so much work talk, but more about having a good time together.
How cool is that? Thanks, Rob. What stood out for me in this is not the fact that it translated in real time. What stood out for me is this is actually Robert Carlson's voice. And Robert Carlson is not in our tenant. He did not have to upload some voice profile somewhere. This is the AI doing work in real time. Now let's shift gears. By the way, I cannot wait for all of you to start trying this out because it is cool. It's going to go in public preview early 2025. Let's switch gears just a little bit and let's speak about the office, because the role of the office has really changed. Right? It's no longer a place where we come to work. It's a place where we come to meet. But how do we know if our friends and our peers are actually in the office? And that's why we made places generally available now for all of you to use. It's a place where you can figure out who is in the office. But there's more things, and there are two things that I would like to highlight today. One is Copilot is going to recommend you when to go into the office. So based on your calendar, your meetings, maybe some guidance from leadership, Copilot is going to tell you this is a good day to actually go into the office. And you can click the button and it'll change the status, and now all of your peers can see that you're in the office as well. The second one is managing bookings, and I showed a little bit of this earlier. This is about Copilot nudging you, saying, hey, you have a couple of meetings today. You are in the office, but you haven't booked your meeting room yet. Would you like me to book those for you? And it'll help you to select a couple of rooms. If that room then gets declined, it'll automatically find a new room for you so that you always have a meeting room that you can start using. Now, customers also tell us that it's difficult these days to kind of figure out how the office is being utilized. Do we have enough desks? Do we need more? Do we need less? How are people using our meeting rooms? And this is where the Places Space Analytics, which is now also generally available, is going to come into play. You can see exactly how your office is being utilized, which rooms are being utilized, how desks are being booked, et cetera, et cetera. I'm a Teams Rooms guy. And you might have figured out that Teams Rooms is really at the core of a lot of these solutions. So you'll get Facilitator on Teams Rooms. Of course, you still get that great one-touch join meeting experience on Teams Rooms as well. You'll now also get the integration with Places. And then we just made digital signage generally available for Teams Rooms on Windows as well, meaning that you no longer have dead pixels just sitting there in your meeting room. You can now work with our partners at AppSpace and Xoco to make sure that you get digital signage on the screen. But speaking of meeting rooms, I think we need to solve a couple of things. One of them is finding these blind spots and then filling in the blind spots. I'll explain what I mean with that. Let's say I'm on a meeting, and I'm there with Jeff, and I'm there with Kendra. And we're all in the meeting room. And we're talking about approving a budget. And Kendra's like, I'm not too sure about this. I'm saying, no way this is going to happen. And Jeff is saying, I'll approve it. If I would go to the meeting transcript, it would say, conference room 1245 wasn't too sure about the budget, denied the budget, and also approved the budget. That is actually an issue, right? And that's why we're happy that we now have speaker recognition for both Teams rooms and bring your own device scenarios where we can add speakers or recognize speakers in the room and then add those in the meeting. And you can actually see and ask Copilot questions about people that were in the room, which I think is pretty cool. Now, I know security is a big thing in all of your organizations. So I would like to leave you with 4 new things that we released in Teams around security. One is brand impersonation phishing detection. Whenever someone is trying to impersonate your brand using your whatever domain you use, Teams will spot that and it'll nudge you and say, hey, this might not be safe, and you can block that person right away. Also, if you have bots that are trying to join your meetings for some reason, you can now set up a meeting policy to ensure that whenever those bots trying to join a meeting, they have to go through one of those nasty captchas that we all don't like, but it's great to prevent bots. And then the third one is getting email verification for external presenters. So let's say you have somebody external coming into the meeting. You want to make sure it's actually them. It's more difficult for you to control that. You might not even know the person. Now we're going to make it possible for them to put in their email address. They get a code in their email, verify who they are, and then they can join the meeting. And then the last one is if you are on a meeting and you're adding a sensitive file, which has a high sensitivity label set to high, Teams will nudge you and actually help you to upgrade that based on the file that is shared. Now, we launched a lot of great things in Teams, and I cannot wait for you to see all of them. Please go enjoy many of the sessions today. For now, I would like to say, tusen tak, thank you so much, and back to Jeff.
Thank you, Michelle. Well, as you see, we're investing in both fundamentals, making Teams easier to use and more secure, as well as lots of new high-value AI innovation. And that same framework applies to SharePoint. And we're very excited. It's more important than ever to have a flexible content management system in the AI era, given how integral great content management is to getting the most out of AI. And if you've been with us on the journey in SharePoint, it's now 23 and a half years. Hopefully you've seen a lot of innovation over the years, and the role of SharePoint is more important than ever. It's growing faster than ever. Over 2 billion new documents every day added to SharePoint. Over 2 billion workflows executed each week through SharePoint's integration with not just the Power Platform, but great third-party workflow partners that are sponsoring the event here this week, Nintex, Webflow, and more. So we're very excited about SharePoint's role for process and knowledge management. And it's now powering all these experiences: OneDrive, lists, Viva, Teams, Stream, and much more. And in fact, one of my favorites, you saw it in a few of the demos, this loop technology that we're using throughout Microsoft 365, including Copilot pages and the meeting notes that Michelle showed. That is all powered and backed by SharePoint. So the most flexible platform, growing faster than ever, innovating faster than ever. And I can't wait for you to see some of the new experiences we're building, again, both in the base SharePoint and the AI features. And for that, we are really excited. The head of design for SharePoint, Denise Trebona, is joining us here to demo some of that live. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. I think I'm good.
Oh.
Yeah.
Live code. She doesn't need the clicker.
Thank you, and hello, everybody. I'm going to head for the demo machine. But that's an incredible amount of content that is in SharePoint that Jeff was just talking about, which makes SharePoint the perfect place to bring your business process solutions and your critical workflows. Let me get to, looks like things were left slightly in an odd state. All right, switcher. we should be up, I think, up and running. All right. So yeah, let's jump into some demos. Speaking of business process and workflows, we're going to take a look at some of the latest and greatest in AI-powered business process. And I'm going to start with autofill columns, which is one of my favorite new features. Right now, you can see I'm in a spec library, and I've got this specification summary column. It's really nicely filled out. If I had done this manually, it would have involved me opening every one of these, reading them, writing a summary, and then putting this in as metadata. But with autofill columns, this is actually done for me, and every new spec that gets uploaded will have the metadata pulled out of it on my behalf, saving me a ton of time and energy. Let's take a look at how this works. You see I've opened up the properties for that column, and I've got autofill on. And I can go here and edit the prompt just to show you a little bit about what this is about. And you can see up here with this little shimmer that the AI is already reasoning over the schema and the context of this document library. And it's going to give me a bit of a prompt suggestion here. But I'm not going to wait for it because I do want to show you a demo. Sort of prove we've got some live code happening here. And I'm going to ask a different question for my prompt, which is what is the product code? And I'm going to select a different document just to test it on, just to show that we're live. You know, while this goes and looks for that product code, oh, there we go, the A200 series solar panel array. You know, I can just reiterate that this is one of my favorite features because it is saving so much time from organizing and cleaning up this metadata and really allowing me to move on to other, you know, better uses of my time, like new filters, new views, and new workflows with this metadata. And so this is a really great feature in terms of working with metadata. I also want to show the approval status column here. So this might be familiar to some of you already if you have worked with the content scheduler template or the travel request template in lists. This is now rolling out to all lists, so you will be able to simply add approval right in any of your lists. And now, as you can see today, this will also be rolling out in the next quarter in document libraries as well. And this is a simple and easy way to set up powerful approvals right in place. I'm going to take a look at how that works as well. So you can see I've got this not submitted document down here that it's ready for me to get off to some colleagues for an approval. And I can type in the name of a couple teammates here. And you can see as I do this, I add multiple people. I've got a toggle to specify whether I want just one person out of that group to approve this or whether I want everybody in the group to approve it, and a place to put some details about why I'm asking for this approval. And then I can submit it, and you can see that approval request getting created without me needing to do anything while it works. And this is using the same Power Automate backed approval service as the Teams approval app does as well. And so what this means is that if I'm a person who works a lot in Teams and I use the Teams approval app, I get notified about this request in Teams and take care of it right there where I'm working in Teams. And you can see we've got that approval request created. So again, just a really simple, easy way to get approvals in any of your lists and any of your document libraries. All right, now speaking of Teams, I do also have a custom workflow running on this library, and that's because I know that a lot of my teammates actually do spend their day in Teams. And I've taken that same custom metadata for the spec summary that I showed earlier that was generated, sucked that into this good-looking card right here, added some custom actions, and can reach all my teammates or employees right where they're working, right inside Teams to interact with this information coming out of that document library. All right, so that is a lot of powerful capability for business process and workflow in SharePoint, but now I'm going to jump into showing you the world of publishing, as Jeff mentioned earlier, where we've been doing a ton of work. So SharePoint is a great place to keep all of that content. As Jeff mentioned, there's 2 million sites made every day. There's so much content coming into SharePoint. We want to make sure that you can create beautiful and compelling pages easily in SharePoint. This site, as you can see, has one of my favorite new features. I've actually talked about at this conference before, which is custom fonts, how you know you're on a newer site with our latest and greatest. And I'm going to show you how to create a page with Copilot on this site. So here you can see, creating with Copilot, I could use a prompt and just start typing about what I want. But instead, I'm going to pick a template here. And you can see I get a preview of that template. I get the opportunity to specify a subject. I don't have hotkeys. No, they were all the rage today. Also get to specify some additional things about the sections I want. So I'm going to change this to be key points. And I think end with final thoughts. And so this makes sure that I'm going to get the sections that I want as this template builds. And then importantly, I'm going to also add some files for reference. So we've had customers really tell us that this is one of the things that they want SharePoint to help them with, which is taking existing content and helping them turn it into a durable and beautiful page in SharePoint. Let me also add a PowerPoint. And I have options here to pick the tone. I'm going to pick enthusiastic because I'm feeling very energetic about this demo. And also to change the length. I'm going to stick with medium in this case. And hit create. And this is where I get to do the hands-free part of my demo because Copilot is doing the work for me in creating this SharePoint page in real time. I'm even just going to have a sip of coffee here. So what's happening here with Copilot is it's taking the prompts, the outline I gave it for the sections and the subject, the template that I showed earlier, and then those grounding files and building out this page for me in real time. Now, it's not going to be perfect. That was not really the goal, but it is a very, very good starting place for me where it is taking something that used to take probably a couple of hours, maybe even longer, and really doing it for me in minutes. And now I'm going to have a great draft to start with. Okay, Copilot would keep going here, but I'm actually going to stop it just in the interest of demo time. I'll keep what I've got so far. I'll pop up to the top of the page. And just to also highlight that we have Copilot Auto Rewrite in the rich text editor. I choose to auto rewrite this or also change the length or the tone like you can in all of our M365 apps at this point. You can see that it's going to give me some new suggestions and I'll have that ability to either keep it or edit it, or ask it to regenerate for me as I see fit. And there we go. All right, so I'm going to replace that. All right, so that is Copilot for Pages. Pretty great, huh? Thank you. All right, now Copilot for Pages is really based on the latest and greatest in the design capabilities of SharePoint itself. So I am going to bring you over here to another page and show you one of the things that powers a lot of that work, which is design ideas in SharePoint. Let me get back into edit mode here. I think I timed out. And here you can see I've got a title block at the top of the page. I've got a title, I don't have an image. I can go over here to the right side and click on design ideas. And the suggestions here for images are going to be fueled by that AI going and looking for images that it thinks matches my title, Relic Cloud Eagle Launch. You can see I've got some eagles, I've got some things launching, I've got lots of options to pick from here, and I can keep on generating more if I like. But I'm going to go ahead and pick this one and move on to this next section where I've got a fair amount of content in here. And I think that I can also generate a lot of different options for the way this could look. It looks nice to start with, but I can also pick loads of other options, again, using design ideas. I'm going to pick this more staggered look. And so you can see the page here is really starting to take shape and be a little bit more visually interesting. Another thing that design ideas can do for you is actually, if you want to work in reverse and choose a layout idea and then go fill in your content, you can get suggestions over here even for empty sections. No content in it, but again, design ideas is helping me find some possibilities, and then I can craft my content around it. So that is a lot of things that design ideas can power for you. But there's one more section down here that I'd like to do something really special with. And at the moment, I can't really do that. I can't really fulfill my vision because there's a constraint in SharePoint where we work with sort of this 1 to 3 column grid layout. Well, today I am very excited to announce we are opening that up with flexible sections, so you'll have access to all 12 columns on the page, and you will be able to lay out elements in ways that overlap, resize, and freely drag around the section. Yeah, thank you. That's my favorite one as well. So I did set this up a little bit beforehand, but I do want to just show, like, you can move these elements around. You can see that they snap to the grid. You can see that you're able to overlap them. And again, also really be able to keep adjusting this freely, vertically as well as horizontally, just really having a ton of fun with this. Now, this is a pretty powerful feature. We know that some people might be like, well, you know, what am I going to do with that? There's so much I could do. It's sort of endless. We are ensuring that you have great starting places and making sure there's a whole set of section templates that use the flexible section capabilities. I'll generate a few more of these. And so you can see there's a lot of variety to give you good starting places. And I've popped some of these into the page so you can see them a little bit bigger. So there's a ton coming that you can do with flexible sections. All right, thank you for that portion. It's very exciting. I appreciate the excitement. All right, and lastly, we want to generate engagement with all of your content. And so here I'm featuring Viva Connections, recently updated due to a lot of customer feedback. So Viva Connections is our employee experience app that really brings the resources, the tools, and the news and information you need in a company-curated, company-branded way. This is the #1 app for first-line workers in Teams, and the second most popular app in Teams mobile worldwide. So let's do a quick tour. Here we have announcements, which allow you to deliver urgent or time-sensitive messages to employees in an audience-targeted way. And they reach them on any form factor or device where they're working. Below that, we have a spotlight, which gives you this real engaging display of the stories that you want to pin and make sure people see. And then below that, we have the dashboard, which is really the kind of the core of activity in Connections. And we've added quite a few new features here, including, importantly, the much sought after ability for employees to customize their view. So you curate the cards that are available to them, but they're free to rearrange and pull the ones they use most often to the top of this layout. We've also added several first-party cards, including a OneDrive capability, stream video playlist capability, a quick links card, and we've also worked with third-party platforms such as Workday and Asana to ensure that we have key card integrations from the partners that you all work with most as well. And finally, here at the bottom, we've got a new resources section, which is another place to put things that you want employees to have regular access to, also in an audience-targeted way. And finally, also, new capabilities in news, which has not previously had any trouble loading. There we go. Really, we have a beautiful new layout for news, really featuring that content in a visual way up and down this page. And we know there can be a lot of news for employees to catch up with, so there's also the option for Copilot to help summarize news and give employees the key points. You can see that developing that, coming out really, really fast and covering that really, really fast for an employee to help them get caught up quickly. And lastly, we also are adding new news notifications, so you can push news notifications out. And we're also adding great new social engagement features as well to ensure that employees can interact with that content that you've created also. All right, so that is it for me, and I will welcome Jeff back up on stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. I was tempted to leave up on one monitor the SharePoint UX that we had in 2015, last time we were in Stockholm, with the whole flexible section designed by AI. She didn't even show real-time co-authoring inside SharePoint pages and like 10 other things we didn't have time to show. But hopefully you've seen that throughout Microsoft 365 and Teams and SharePoint in particular, this huge focus on performance and simplicity and flexibility and power, as well as the big game changer, which is AI, so that we can deliver a Copilot for every employee to help them be more productive and grow their skills, and an agent for every business process so that you can help transform your organization and get an even bigger return on investment on the money you spend on technology. With that, I'm very excited to wrap up the keynote. We are turning the tables, and at 10:35, we're going to take a break now. At 10:35, we'd ask you all to be back for an AMA, and you can fire away questions and feedback at us. Thank you again for coming to ESPC this week. We're so thrilled to see you all. Thank you.